Claims of state capture and divisions within government that have weighed on investor sentiment in recent days. Let's get a global investor view now. We're joined on the line by Razia Khan from Standard Chartered in London. Razia, I know you've just heard the news, so this is hitting the international stage already.
Yes, certainly. South Africa and domestic political developments in South Africa have, of course, been very closely watched since the shock news last December of the replacement of then Finance Minister Nene. We saw this again yesterday, markets paying very close attention to developments when we had the statement from the Hawks suggesting to a lot of investors that there was quite a high-stakes political background to all of this. We did see the rand weaken very significantly.
So this latest confirmation from Mcebisi Jonas that he was offered the job by the Guptas has not only political implications but economic implications. What do you foresee?
Well, markets have been watching this very closely because investors are looking for reassurance on South Africa's institutional strength. There's been a long-held perception that part of South Africa's investment-grade rating stems from the strength of its institutions like the Reserve Bank, like the Treasury, that are seen to be very good at what they do in terms of the promises on economic management, the transparency that brings about. So clearly any attempt that might, or any incident that might be seen as an attempt to interfere with the relative autonomy of those institutions is seen as a great negative by investors. And as we've seen in recent days especially, this has had a very marked impact in terms of the market reaction. The question is, with the rand having weakened so much more because of this perception that investors need to be watching developments closely, that perhaps things at the Treasury may not be as settled as they had hoped, and they've really put a lot of faith in the Treasury in terms of the fiscal turnaround plan, in terms of doing what it might take to secure South Africa's ongoing investment-grade rating. This is something that's going to be watched closely.
I don't know if you agree. Nomura released a statement saying that it's quite hard for international investors to follow the minutiae of the claims between the finance minister and the Hawks. That's back and forth legal claims. Will this be much more concrete and much easier for investors to digest and maybe more serious? It'll fuel those claims of state capture.
Well, what investors are looking for essentially is the assurance on the continued institutional strength in South Africa. Anything that is seen to cast doubt on that will have negative market implications, will likely weaken the rand. I'm not necessarily sure that we would agree with the assumption that it's very difficult to follow events in South Africa. Given the ease of information spreading, I think this is being looked at very closely both by people in South Africa and by international investors, and we tend to see an almost immediate market reaction to any news developments in South Africa.
Well, certainly we saw the rand react. No major reaction as far as I could tell today. We have to be fair and say that global factors are also playing a part, whether the United States looks set to raise interest rates this year or not. They're releasing a statement later. What are you expecting, and why is this important for us?
Well, certainly global factors have always played a big role in market outcomes. The rand is seen almost as a proxy for global risk appetite, and to some extent it will be reflecting that. Our expectation at Standard Chartered is no Fed hike today, but perhaps the risk of a slightly hawkish statement. Now, ordinarily, depending on how that is interpreted, if risk is on the back foot, the rand will weaken. In this instance, however, the developments in South Africa are seen as that much more important. It's actually South Africa's specific developments that are likely to be the overriding factor. So not just what is happening in the political sphere, but what this is likely to mean in terms of the monetary policy decision on Thursday as well.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Razia Khan on the line from London. She's from Standard Chartered. Well, we were alluding to this even before.